and welcome to the phase. This week we're talking about the Successors from Age of Alexander. I'm joined today by Tim.
Hello.
All right, we're pretty hyped about this one. I think it's fair.
Yes.
Actually, we're pretty hyped about all of them. So
yeah, it's such a good book, man. It's such a good book.
Yeah, so it's good. We're gonna try and capture some of that energy. One thing that we were discussing just before this episode was how to organize it. So this is probably one of the most, I guess, complicated is maybe the right word.
Yeah.
Factions in terms of both choice of sub-faction and also in terms of choice of what your warlord is trying to achieve. So, Tim, do you want to maybe explain this one in a little bit more depth?
Yeah. So I think it's basically like 3-layered. There's your standard equipment that everyone can take, and then you decide which empire which successor empire your warlord is from, and then also you decide his ambition. So there's 3 empires, and then there's 3 ambitions. So if you want to mix and match, that's like 9 different kind of variants you can play, which is really cool. So there's definitely something in here for everybody. Like there's no doubt about that for sure. So the 3 ambitions, I think, kind of make what you is what you should choose first. Like you can see what these guys can do, and then kind of work out what equipment options you want. And of course, it also works the other way around. If you end up like taking only non-phalanx units, which you can, then there's basically only 1 ambition to take. So yeah, let's. Do you want to go through the equipment options? Then I'll give a short overview of what ambition, like what each ambition is very good at.
Yeah, let's do that. So I think the first thing to say is that this warband gives you such an incredible range of different models that you can use. Since
it's insane.
Yeah, since Alexander ended up conquering a pretty large chunk of the world, it means that the successor kingdoms, once he died, kind of recruited from everywhere. So you can have the 3 subtypes that you can have are split into the Greece, Asia, and Egypt. So and that's on top of the kind of the standard equipment options that you can just take, kind of representing the Macedonian kind of core of troops left behind by the kingdom. So that's probably a good point to start. So we'll start off with the successor kingdoms. So this is just the kind of at the table from which you can take or you can choose your equipment regardless of which subfaction you choose. So your warlord is pretty simple. You can either be on horse or on foot. Nothing special there. Your Hearthguard are mounted on horses, a maximum of 1 unit, and your warriors can either have sarissas, and then they have phalanx, or they can have javelins, and that's it. So that's your kind of your shared starting point. From that point onwards, you have to choose a subfaction. So you can choose the Greek option, in which case your Hearthguards, or you can choose Hearthguards with sarissas. And then there is also maximum 1 unit, and then they also have phalanx. And then your warriors either have heavy weapons, which is pretty cool, so maximum 1 unit, horses with javelins, and then just normal warriors, and then they have the phalanx rule. And then finally, levies can only choose javelins. So how would you mix that with the ambitions themselves if you're taking Greece?
Right. I think for equipment options, Greece, in my opinion, is by far the best. Looking at 5 different options for warriors, so you can, if you play it right, you can bring like a few points of warriors, and then just decide when the game starts. You see your opponent, just decide if you want to put down the heavy weapon guy. Heavy weapon guys, like there would be like your Thracian looking warriors because they were recruited by Greece, or like your horse javelins to it's really easy to use that to really tailor your playstyle to your opponent for that one game. And then like the 5 different warrior options are really good. And then I also really love the Hearthguard with sarissas because of the legatum ambition, which we'll talk about here in a second. They're just, for like a common, they get like 5 extra attack dice. on shooting, which is super good and easier to do on the Hearthguard. And then the levies, I think Levy Javelin, we've talked about it before with the new FAQ. They're very potent, very easy. They pump out lots of shots. So I really like these equipment options. They're great.
Okay, and then the next one, when we're getting into slightly fancier equipment options, is Asia. So these are the kind of like the Seleucid Empire, the Pontus, Pergamon, Bactria, which I think is like a fascinating kind of outpost of Greek civilization in the ancient world. So you can have your Hearthguard, and they can have horses with Cataphract. Also maximum 1 unit, so that's the ones, the horses that have armor 5 against shooting and a melee. However, they move a little bit more slowly, but they still charge L. And then you can also have Hearthguards with no equipment options, and they have phalanx. You can choose an elephant. They have a
fancy.
Yeah, they also have elephantine armor, which increases their armor against shooting to 5. Here again, you can have maximum 1 unit, and then you can also choose sized chariots. They're maximum 2 units, and levies just have bows. So that's pretty cool. You can definitely break out the elephants and your chariots. Yeah. Which ambition do you think meshes best here with the Asians?
I think that would probably be Divite or Legatum, because Divite helps activate many units, and so that with the levy bows, I think they need a little bit more work. So I'm not sure I would. If you take them, then Divite can help you, and yeah, the Divite can also really help to keep the elephant fresh, which is super good, and also the chariot kind of, I mean, not really. He doesn't have resilience, so it's just the elephant, to be honest. But
okay.
Yeah,
Cataphrax definitely give you a pretty sweet looking unit. So
yeah,
like, I don't know. I
just don't like cataphracts, man.
I know, but they look cool.
So. They do, and of course, very big here. They have Hearthguard with no equipment and phalanx, and they are so fast with this board. Like they can, it's insane. Like
Also,
very fast.
Yeah. Also, like there's quite a few elephant models with like like the lamellar armor and stuff like that.
Yeah, that looks amazing.
They just look like absolute beasts. So like I think the kind of the rule of cool wise, like this is probably one of the best warbands in terms of just having really cool looking stuff on the board.
Yeah, and it's so easy to put, like, for the levies, you just basically use like your
Victory,
like Persian models
and slingers.
Yeah, I mean, for these levies, you would use your Persian models, right? Because they are recruited from the Persian empires. And then for the warriors with javelins, you can use the like the Persian models if you wanted to. It's kind of like Carthage in Hannibal. Like you can buy like 14 different Victrix packs, and it's still one army, which I think is always super cool. Like you buy the Numidians and then you play them in Carthage, and it's perfect. I think that's cool.
Yeah. All right. And then the final option is Egypt. So this is your kind of like your if you're going towards the Cleopatra side of things. So here you can choose. There's no Hearthguard option here, but you can choose an elephant. Here they don't have the elephantine armor. And then you can have warriors mounted on horses with javelins, and that's your only option. And then for levies, you can either have sarissas, maximum 2 units, which is interesting. Here they don't have phalanx though. I guess they not quite trained enough to fight properly.
Yes.
And then they also have levies with bows. Then no special equipment options there. So this one's like a little bit strange. How do you think this one will work out in practice?
Yeah, I think this only works with DVT, with the good multi-activation for the levies, because you can never move them around without it, I think. And the levy sarissas, like them not having phalanx makes this a little bit harder to play. And so I think this might be the least interesting option, unless you can make these levy sarissas really put in the work. And like, I mean, I haven't seen that yet. Usually melee levy are super good, and then having these melee levy with that kind of have some buffs with them as well, might be amazing, and I just haven't seen it yet. But I think they're definitely the one where you have to think about it the most, which isn't necessarily like a bad thing.
Yeah. All right. So that's quite a few little options. Do you want to maybe give a brief background of how this whole ambition thing works?
Yeah. Yes. So there's 3 ambitions. It's Divite, Legatum, and Hubris. And each ambition, there's 10 battleboard abilities on here. Each ambition buffs 3 of these battleboard abilities. Divite's buff and ends up the abilities that it buffs kind of help to keep your warband alive, I think is what the theme is. It just kind of, it's just like a like a quality of life improvement to your battle board. It's kind of like more defense dice, one more unit on the multi-activation, so 3 instead of 2, and like 1 more fatigue to be removed at the end of your turn per unit, like around your warlord. Then, so it's 2 instead of 1. So this helps with resilience units. So your elephants love this. The elephants also love the defense dice, and then the elephants also love the multi-activation. So I think if you're not going phalanx heavy, then this is the way to go. Then Legatum maybe is a little bit more phalanx oriented and a little bit more it's high damage, I think, because it gives you lots of extra dice when shooting with a phalanx unit. So when they poke their Successors. Then it has the Conqueror's buff, which basically makes sure that only in some rare cases all your attack dice hit, which is insane. And then for the heavies, it really helps to keep your phalanx alive. And then Hubris, I think, is a very interesting one that's harder to play because it just, with the ambition, it just gives you just many more attack dice. And some of them are bonus attack dice, which is big because this can really help. So you charge a unit in, a small unit in, maybe a 4-stack of your phalanx guys, and then they end up throwing like 11 dice for your because Hubris is just buffs it like that, and they're with a +1 as well. So Hubris, I think if you can like figure it out, it can be really devastating on the opponent because you basically never offer any big points of yours, but you always throw lots of dice with a good bonus. So if you can make that, that's insane. But I think it's definitely the hardest to make, like to play right.
Yep. All right. I think that makes sense. Also, one thing to note is that unlike with Carthage, where you have like the split between citizen and contingent warriors, here like it doesn't matter. Like you just say you're playing Asians, and then you don't have like a further split. Luckily, in terms of like which counts, which abilities count for being like part of your contingent or citizen or whatever. So just to clear this one up a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
All right. So after having said all that, I think we can move on to the board itself.
Yeah, and it's a good one. Do you wanna start us off with the top row?
Yes, I would love to. So the top row, the only difference here from kind of like your basic top row is the activation pool, which has been replaced by something called Alexander's Hairs. Hairs.
Yeah.
Not hairs. Anyway, so this again is also an orders ability. However, instead of just being able to be, or you use a common or an uncommon, and you choose one of your inactive Saga dice and change its face to a rare. So this is kind of like maybe like an inverse of the activation pool.
Absolutely, yeah, it is.
But it does. But it does kind of like this board probably has a buff using the rare for almost every single ability, or like a massive amount of the abilities. So it is pretty important to get those rares to really boost your abilities to the next level.
Yeah, I mean every as you said, every ability on here can take a rare or takes a rare. So pretty good. And I think it's the activations are perfectly named. Levies being local troops, warriors being a line, and Hearthguard being elite. I think that really that makes perfect sense.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so that's
All
top
right.
row done. Let's go on to
Yeah.
the advanced abilities.
And so here for the advanced abilities, we're just going to talk about the basic version of it, and then what the buff through the ambition to it is as well. So heavy armor. It's a melee or shooting reaction. It can take any die facing. Gain 2 defense dice, or 4 if you use a rare. And then if you have DVT, you gain 2 additional defense dice. And of course, 4 defense dice for a common with DVT is great value, but 2 defense dice just without it for a common in shooting or melee is also great value. So I think it's just a good ability. It's a staple of keeping your warband together and alive, and keeping the phalanx warriors above 4. So you don't lose out on the phalanx rule, so you can't activate them again through the other stuff. So I think it really helps.
Yep, definitely, and definitely using the theme of DVT keeping your warband alive. This one's a strong one coming out the gates. All right, so the next one is called Hegemony. This is using a common or a rare. This is activation, so activate up to 2 units. At least one of them must be a phalanx. The first of these activations doesn't generate a fatigue if you use a rare. And then if you have the DVT ambition, you activate an additional unit. So I think our views on multiple activations is well known. So if you are choosing, activating 3 units with a common, if you're going down the DVT route, is pretty insane. Okay. I don't think you're going to have a problem activating like a phalanx unit, because most of them, you are kind of still leaning heavily on this. One problem here is that the levies from Egypt don't have phalanx, just to keep that one in mind.
Exactly.
So that makes it a little bit difficult in terms of taking a large block of levies and hoping to do something with them. So
yeah, it's kind of thematic though, right? If you play Hegemony, you have to have like a warrior Sarissa squad for your Egypt successor, and then have them be surrounded or just flanked on each side with a levy Sarissa squad. So like your warriors are kind of leading the charge because they have phalanx and they have to be activated with this. So yeah.
Yeah, but all in all, this is a pretty amazing unit. And I think you were talking about how quick this warband was, despite being able to be all on foot. So yeah, this definitely makes it pretty insane.
It's a great place for a rare, to be honest. Like putting a rare on here, yes. The having no fatigue on the second move or on a charge. This is any activation. It's really good.
Yeah. All right. So I think this is maybe something you would play every single turn.
Every single turn.
Yeah, I don't see why not, to be honest. If you're okay.
With either die facing, it's good.
All right. Great.
Next up, we have Pantodapoi. It's an orders ability that takes either a uncommon or a rare. At the end of the turn, remove a fatigue from every other unit within very short of your warlord, or from short if you use a rare. And DVT, remove up to 2 fatigues from these units. So I think this is a very good place for an uncommon. Just cleaning up a whole bunch of fatigue at the end of your turn can be really powerful into some warbands that rely on you having fatigue. And this is it's an uncommon, and as long as you remove more than 1 fatigue, even, I think this is worth it. One thing to note: this doesn't work on the warlord himself, so it's every other unit, and the rare on here to get it to be within short, I think is very rarely useful. So yeah.
I think also if you look at the troop selections, here taking elephants becomes less of a liability.
Insane. Yeah.
Especially if you take the DVT, because then you're like, okay, my elephant is fresh again. And on top of that, you can even rest, because this is in the orders phase and this doesn't count as a rest. So if you really want to go from 3 fatigues to 0 fatigues for an elephant, this is one way of doing it, and incredibly frustrating for your opponent. And also, I think looking maybe a little bit further and jumping forward on the board, there's also some abilities that give you resilience.
Exactly.
So linking this with the resilience just makes people survive for a very long time. So
yeah, it's very easy to charge your Hearthguard in or your Phalanx in and give them resilience, and they end up with like 2 fatigues, and then the same goes for your Elephant, and then at the end of your turn, this effect pops up and just removes the fatigues again. It's really good.
yeah, especially because you do have to play this in the orders phase, but the effect happens at the end of the turn. So
yeah,
I don't think we actually see a lot of those types of abilities actually that where you play something in the orders phase and it doesn't happen immediately.
And it's so much better than having like happening immediately because you have a full turn of doing stuff and moving stuff around, and I think it's great.
Yeah, definitely. So you can line it up in your orders phase. Okay, you see what you rolled. You're making a little plan. You're gonna get some damage, or you're gonna charge in your Elephant or charge in your Hearthguard with resilience, and then you can already put a dice down on this and play it. So yeah, it's pretty good. I think this this makes me a little bit scared.
All right, DVT is done now. So do you want to go into Legatum?
Yep. So this is my favorite named ability of the board, called Longer Sarissas. Here you can use any of the dice facings, and this is a shooting abilities, only for Phalanx units, however. Gain 3 attack dice. If you use a rare, reroll all 1s and 2s scored on your attack dice. And if you choose the Legatum ambition, you gain 2 additional attack dice. So here I think becomes maybe a little bit more complicated if you take large units of warriors to get that many warriors kind of within range. I think it's easier to play with Hearthguard because you get the 1 shot per model.
Absolutely, yes.
And then you're not capped as much as like by doubling the amount of attack dice which you can roll. So yeah, I think this one's pretty solid. I'm not sure the rare is super worth it compared to putting it elsewhere, but
yeah, that's you're right. But also, if you think about it, like the rare on average, if you roll like 11 dice, which I think is definitely very, very like common, it's going to be a great value to reroll like 4 of those on average. And then if you fuck up more, then cool, even more rerolls. And if you fuck up less, cool, I did it right. So I think the rare is not too bad on here. It's the uncommon, the common uncommon no brainer, but the rare not too bad either.
Yep. All right. I think this one's pretty solid. Also, you're shooting, no damage coming back, so that's pretty good. And especially with the upgraded Sarissa rules in what's it called? In Age of Alexander, definitely makes this one even tastier.
Yes. All right, next up we have the Conquerors. It's a melee ability that takes a rare. You can reroll any of your attack dice which don't score hits. And then if you have Legatum, after this reroll, you may change the result of 3 of these dice to 6. So yeah, I mean, rerolling oil attacks, already really good. Of course, I think can be worth it in many cases, especially into higher armors, so into armor 5. This is probably the sweet spot to play this. And then having the rerolls then make it really good. And then just switching 3 through 6 is so super good. It's also really annoying to play against because I mean if it's just you're going to be hitting on 6s because they can take your fatigue to put you up to 6. But then as long as you have this as Legatum, you're always going to push through at least three hits, and that can make a big difference sometimes on whether you kill the warlord or not. So it just makes it very reliable, your attacks in which this is played. So it's definitely a very good ability. It's a rare, and if you go into melee, I think you should have this set up.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So the next one is called the Heavies. So this is using a uncommon or a rare, a melee ability. So this is for Phalanx or mounted Hearthguard units. After the melee, remove a fatigue from your unit. If you use a rare, your unit gains resilience 1. If you're choosing the Legatum ambition, your unit cancels the first casualty suffered after rolling its defense dice. So I really I think this one's really good. We talked about it briefly regarding giving your Hearthguard resilience in combination with the Pantodapoi ability.
Yes.
So that makes the unit of Hearthguard not be such a liability in the end. Because you're just you're going to survive a lot, and then you can wipe your fatigue from the unit quite easily, which makes them pretty damn solid and survivable. I think even the Legatum ability, where you can cancel the first casualty, like that gives them insane amount of kind of staying power in the end. So
I think if you take Legatum, the uncommon is usually enough, to be honest, to keep your Hearthguard kind of okay. And then if you end up losing one guy, sure, okay. And if you don't have Legatum, the rare is super good on here, especially if you have Divite to refresh them after. It's great.
Yeah. All right. And here it's also you're removing additional fatigue as well. So it's like even if you're not playing the Pantodopoi, you're still it's still pretty solid ability.
If you do play Pantodapoi with this, your unit will, even though they have resilience and were exhausted, they have no fatigue after this with Divite, which is super good.
Yeah, definitely. So I probably wouldn't charge in Hearthguard without putting a rare on this.
Yeah.
like why would you? I would wait that extra turn or use the Alexander's heirs.
Yes. Yeah, just use his hairs, man.
Yeah, just use his hairs. Come on, just do it. Yeah. And just to ensure that I would get that, because otherwise you're just losing Hearthguard for no reason. But so far this board is we haven't really seen any duds, I would say. So, coming in strong. All right.
Yeah. Next up, we have Strategos. It's an orders reaction that takes a rare only. Roll 2 of your available Saga dice, and then add them to your inactive Saga dice. And what they mean by that is add them to your boards. So I think I haven't played this a whole lot, but I think it's a good ability, and it can help you if you know you don't have to do a ton this turn, because every ability on here is good. So if you know you don't have to do a ton this turn, then just put the rare on here and I don't know, use it later. But I don't know. I think all the other abilities are so good that this is really, you really have to be strategic with this, when to play it, when not to play it, because the other abilities can just really be super powerful. So if you have that rare, it could also have kill 4 more warriors this turn. So why would I put it on here? I think it's good, and me personally, I'm not strategic. I go in. I haven't used it that much.
All right. I think it's also a nice little replacement for, you don't have the activation pool as well. So
that's right.
It's kind of like not quite, but kind of activation pool in your orders reaction. Anyway, so the next one is Shatter Their Ranks. This is the first and only 2 dice ability requiring a rare and an uncommon. So this is a melee ability, so gain 2 attack dice. Your attack dice get +1 bonus. And this is also the first Hubris ambition buffed ability. So if you take a Warlord with Hubris, you gain 3 additional attack dice. So +1 bonus to your attack dice. Pretty damn solid, especially if you're charging in with something like Hearthguard, or I guess anyone really. That makes it pretty tasty. It is 2 dice, so I guess the kind of you have to weigh up all the other really good abilities that we've dealt with so far with putting down 2 dice here. But
yes.
The effect in itself is not bad at all.
Yeah, I think put it, if you have Hubris, then this is good. And if you don't, you really have to think about whether you want to spend 2 dice on this with all the other abilities being super good. So
so it's more of just how good the rest of the abilities are, rather than this ability not being great.
Because 5 additional dice and a +1 on the unit that already throws 12 dice, that's 17 attacks with a +1. No unit's gonna like that. Yeah,
that's gonna be a bad time for whoever comes across that. So
Yeah.
But yeah, so for a devastating charge, like if you're just maybe going to charge once, one time, like yeah, this is going to crush whatever you touch.
And I think, yeah, so I think if you have Hubris, then Shatter Their Ranks is the go-to melee ability, and you have Legatum, then the Conquerors is the go-to melee ability. Kind of both takes a rare, and Hubris is better at taking out levies, with Legatum being better at taking out high armor, like Warlords or Hearthguard. Next up, we have Provocation. It's an Orders reaction that can take any die facing. Choose one of your Phalanx units. If at the end of the turn, this unit has not fought in melee, all enemy units within medium of it suffer a fatigue. If you use a rare, immediately remove a fatigue from this unit. And then the Hubris buff. In addition, immediately inflict a fatigue on one enemy unit within large of your unit. So I think this goes perfectly with the whole idea of Hubris shooting in semi-small, like 6 warriors maybe, 6 warrior blocks into the enemy army, like turn for turn, and just provoking them, because I think even small warrior units can be surprisingly very, very tough because they have phalanx. And so this is the playstyle unlocked by this, and just putting a fatigue and kind of like forcing your opponent to charge you is, I think, can be good. I have used this before, and this also works on all of your mercenaries with phalanx. So yeah, there are the Greek mercenaries in the book, which are insanely like defensive. So if you don't want to get the fatigue, then this will, yeah, you have to charge them or just run away. So I don't mind either, to be honest. So you can definitely use this well.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting ability as well. Like I don't think we've seen anything like this on any other board so far. So it's kind of interesting to see how Studio Tomahawk can still come up with.
Where are these new abilities coming from? Like what?
I know. I mean, anyway, it's maybe a discussion for another time. But all right, so the next one and the last one is Pride of the Diadochi. So this is using a common or a rare. So this activation. So activate a phalanx for a charge with a movement bonus of very short, or the movement bonus of short if you use a rare. And if you use the Hubris Warlord, gain 2 bonus attack dice for the ensuing melee. So yeah, this is definitely in line with the Hubris, wanting to get in and beat people over the head. The movement bonus is amazing for Phalanx and also Sarissa units, because you're just generally relatively slow. So for a common, this is pretty much a no-brainer, I would say. Definitely gives you a lot of flexibility and lets you reach out to charge in a lot better.
Yeah, the thing to keep in mind, I think you always have to decide whether you want to use this or play Hegemony with a rare to get into the charge without a fatigue. Like to get into the melee without a fatigue. So that can be tough. But because your Sarissas, they charge medium anyway, and then giving them the very short as well. So they charge 8 inches or the short, which I don't think is that worth it, but can be definitely if it spares you a whole other activation just to be able to go 2 more inches. 2 more inches can be a lot. So yeah, I think Pride of the Diadochi is super good with Hubris and good with everybody else.
Also very flexible and keeps people on their toes.
Yes.
Be like, haha, I'm out of medium. It's like, well, I don't care. I'll still get you. So, like that definitely makes people think about their unit placement as well, and doesn't make it like a no-brainer. And also, like, there's a really good opportunity to just take a full foot warband anyway with this warband. So there you're not.
I have, yeah. I would,
even with this, it kind of takes away some of the play style that you might get if you're playing against cav units that just park their units slightly outside of M. Yeah, so that's the board. I think so far, not a single dud. Lots
Yeah,
lots of options.
I would agree.
Really cool modeling options. Like what's not to like? And on top of that, if you're doing Macedonians, like you can just slot in some extra little units from 1 or 2 units, like an elephant or something, and you're pretty much good to go. If you're playing Persians, you just paint up some Macedonian-looking Hearthguard or something, and you're good to go. Yeah, like what's like it's pretty flexible. It's I think within reach of like a lot of people. Like it's very well supported in terms of modeling choices from Vitrix or other manufacturers, and you can pretty much go wild on the modeling options. And so yeah, this is I don't know, all round I would say this is probably one of the best, most flexible warbands out there.
I would wholeheartedly agree. The only downside is it's too many options to know how everything works or plays. So damn, it's a tough one to have. Just a quick side note. I've had someone come up to me while I played the Asian Successors, and they were like, "Dude, what the fuck? They're the Persian models. Why are you using them for the Successors?" I'm like, "What? You're playing Carthage and you have Numidians on your board just to get it. It's how this works. We buy local troops." So yeah, I think being able to buy in these units from other lines makes it so cool.
All right, I think it's probably really helpful for people, especially newer people, looking at this board. Like, where do you think people should start in terms of just choosing a warband for like a good all round choice if you're starting with the Greeks?
I think it's very very potent to just bring I don't know, build a good. I think the Greeks or Asians are perfect start for this, and just Greek because the warriors are so forgiving. Like warriors nothing happens to them. If one or two more die, sure, no problem really. And then so I think the warrior being able to go, the Greeks being able to go warrior heavy, I think is a great starting point. And also Asia for just painting up an elephant and being done with 1 point. Great starting point. So if you wanna start these, I think it's perfect to just start with 2 points of Sarissas for your warriors. Be ready with that, and then your warlord have him. I think it's good to have him either on foot or on horse. So you can decide, and then yeah, depending whether you go Asia or Greece, pick up an elephant. Maybe pick up 6 or 8 Hearthguard. Maybe probably 6 for phalanx for the Asians, so no Sarissas, or for phalanx for the Greeks with Sarissas, and then fill out the rest with the local troops. So with javelin levies or maybe bow levies. I think it's a perfectly fine starting point. If you realize that the bow levies don't end up working for you, I think it's great to just take more warriors.
Yeah, so I don't think there's a lot of support for bow levies on here, but they're pretty solid by themselves anyway. Like you want to stay away from them; they can be annoying. But yeah, so I'm gonna
bow levies.
Yeah, I'm gonna push you a little bit, Tim, and just give me one list. If you had to take a list with no equipment options, because like there's people out there who don't quite have your painting output, and it takes them a few months to put a warband on the table.
Yes.
Like what would you suggest that you're not going to regret?
Yeah, so I think that would be your Greeks. Just get 6 Sarissas, so 6 Hearthguard with Sarissas. They're great, and then like just fill out the rest with your warriors and levies, and so that would be probably 4 points of warriors and then have 1 unit of those with heavy weapons, so maybe 10 or 12, whatever you like, and then have a point of javelins with your levies, and then the rest of the warriors I think are really amazing as the phalanx no equipment option warriors, because they benefit from basically everything on here. Big blocks of them will hurt, and so 6 Hearthguard with Sarissas, 12 warriors with heavy weapons, 12 levies with their javelins, and then you have 2 points of warriors with your phalanx remaining, and do them maybe 8 and 8 or 12 and 4 or 10 and 6. I think everything works here. So that's the list. I think is a great starting point.
Yeah, and then I guess if you were going into Asians, maybe just switch out the heavy weapons with the elephant. Then I think that works as well. So, pretty.
And your warriors can't have phalanx, so and your herd card can't have sarissas, so you kind of have to change around a lot.
It's fine. Just make like a spear that can kind of like it's like midway between like
no, don't
like a long spear or a short sarissa.
I'm like very shit at modeling stuff, but that's a no. I think that they look so different, and the only one thing you can do, just build a few models with sarissas, and then just say whatever they are. Just say they're Hearthguard or warriors. They kind of look the same, so I think that's a great way. Just get some sarissas done and some like Hippaspis looking dudes, so no sarissas, just the normal phalanx spears, and then you're good either way.
Yeah, I'm still I'm still gonna make mine with like ambiguous sarissas. So
I will ban you.
You're just gonna snap them.
Yes.
Take the clippers and be like, no, this is too long.
Wait, you're playing these as Hippaspis? No, they're coming off.
All right. All right, I think that's very helpful for newer players as well, because I can imagine if you're attracted to this board, like it's super cool. The board is solid. The modeling options are solid, but you just have so many choices to make. So I think if we can narrow it down a little bit to get people start playing, and then once they find their play style, they can kind of like slowly add 1 or 2 points to optimize how they want to play it. And I think also a great thing is there's no real obvious like, oh, you have to take this unit. You can pretty much be super flexible, take a warband how you want to play it in your play style, and then you'll find a way of kind of like using either an ambition or using a sub faction to find your kind of like your optimal play style.
Absolutely, yes.
All right, I think would be worth talking about modeling options.
Yeah.
I think there we could probably make a whole hour.
Yes.
So, like, I think we'll probably just split it in terms of, first of all, just talking about the plastic options. I think, just to narrow it down a little bit, and there, like Victrix, I think has you covered in every single way, shape, or form that you want to do this. Maybe not on the Egyptian side, however. I think there it's probably if you want to do a fully Egyptian style army, you're going to have to dip into metal model ranges. I haven't really seen any that I'm super excited by, so I'm not going to really suggest there what's out there. But in terms of just Victrix, like you can get your Macedonian or your Successor Phalangites. Maybe a shout out to our YouTube channel, Tim. You made a really nice video in terms of reviewing the Victrix Successor Phalangite kit, and also the Hippaspis kit. So if people are interested in having a look at those models, that's on the YouTube channel. So just look for the activation phase on there. And then they obviously have elephants. They don't have scythe chariots. If you want to go that option, I'm not sure we would really want to, except for just kind of rule of cool. But
yeah, that's
so
right.
I think you're maybe missing that one. But I think all the other options you can mix in your Persians. There's so many. I think there you have cavalry, you have infantry that you can mix and match. You don't have cataphract though, so I think there you might have to dip into gripping beast for the plastic cataphract horses, because they have a kit there. But then so that I think there you might have to kind of like figure it out a little bit. But I think for the rest you're good. If you want to go the War Games Atlantic route, I think there you might be limited to just the Persian or the Asian type range, and then you're not going to have a lot of Greek style or Macedonian style units to use. So I think Victrix is probably your best bet for everything.
Yeah, the cheapest way to get into Asia, I think, is actually the War Games Atlantic Persians, because they are perfect, and they perfectly pair with all the Victrix Greek kits. And then for the warriors with heavy weapons from Greece, that's maybe you have to kind of build some Thracians if you wanted to make them look like right, because that's what these guys are. And
I guess
for
there
Egypt,
you can use the Dacian kit, and then then you'd have to use the arms from like the Rompia arms from that kit.
yeah.
And then if you want to be correct, like they're not going to be wearing trousers mostly, so you're gonna have to put them onto the bodies with tunics. But I think there, like a little bit of gluing, a little bit of cutting, should get you pretty far.
And also, like, little projects like these where it's only going to be like maximum 12 models of this, I think can be super fun. So they're great, like a breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air. All right. And then for the Egyptians, there are some War Games Atlantic 3D models for them. So just like printable. And they are very, very good to just get the heads out of these 3D prints and put them onto your Successor Felling guides if you wanted to. That can look good and would not be too wrong. So that could be possible, because I think you're going to have like trouble finding a good Egyptian style looking Sarissa unit other than in metal. So if you want to go plastic with some bits being out of resin, I think that's perfect to kind of dodge the metals, which I am always trying to. All right, let's talk about ruses. I'll just start us off. There's the Kriko Bactrians. It's a recruitment ruse for 1 coin. It's for Asian kingdoms only. Your warband can only include a maximum of 1 unit of Hearthguards and a single elephant without the elephantine armor. Your warband may not include any scythed chariot, which is not that good anyway. On the other hand, in addition to their usual equipment options, your warriors can be mounted on horses and equipped with composite bows. I think this is an amazing option, especially with DVT, to have like the cheap multi-activation, activate 2 of these units. And I think that's one of the coolest ruses I've seen yet. It could just have been just another list for the equipment options in the first place, but I guess they ended up making it a ruse. So yeah, really like this one. I think that can be super fun. I have definitely built a warband using this because I was inspired by my friend Mark, and he I think it's a great ruse. I think the horses with composite bows are missing in the kind of like in this in the ancients, so I think that's great to have them here.
Yep, definitely. All right, so the next one is Imitation Legionaries, also recruitment one for 1 coin. So your warriors and Hearthguards can be deployed with a phalanx special rule and no equipment options. When making a maneuver move, these units get a movement bonus of short.
I guess it's okay for the Egyptians, right? Because they don't really have access to this kind of stuff. So paying a coin for having the maneuver doesn't really matter, but having a point for Hearthguard and warriors with no equipment options is good. All right, next up we have a preparation ruse. I'm not so sure how to say that. Claruchis? Yeah. Use this card at the start of your first turn. During this turn, all your units with Sarissas or without equipment options gain the Determination special rule, but can't be activated via the abilities on your board. Yes, I guess. No, to be honest, because
This sounds pretty bad.
I think Hegemony does it better for like not paying 2 coins. So I don't think this is good.
All right, so the next one is Veterans. So this is called Royal Guard. Phalanx or mounted Hearthguard only. So while your unit is within short of your warlord, it gains Determination special rule. Once per turn, if your unit within short of your warlord and is not exhausted, it can take a fatigue to cancel a loss suffered by your warlord. Note that this rule is in addition to any use of the bodyguards rule, and this is using 3 coins. So it makes your warlord pretty tough, I guess, if you want to charge in and use him. It makes your Hearthguard, like, I guess you don't have to use a dice for activating them as much, but that's
keep them upright.
But that's not really like a issue too much with this board, I would say. So I'm not sure how much, like, what you would gain, except for maybe a slightly more beat stick warlord if you want to do that.
Yep. Next up, we have Timely Truce. It's a stratagem ruse for 3 coins. Use this card when one of your units is chosen as the target of a charge or a shooting attack activation. Cancel this activation. I think this is everything ruses shouldn't be. I think it's kind of powerful. It can, like, in a situation where you really don't want that to happen, and your opponent usually doesn't know about this, that you have this set up. I hate this ability because I think it's good, and I wouldn't play it. I think this is all that ruses are that shouldn't be in Saga. Maybe slightly spicy hot take here, but I've talked about that before. So yeah, it doesn't make the game more fun to do something your opponent doesn't know you can do. So I think good ability, I hate it.
Yeah, sure. It's like Pagan Rust, but secret.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Not fun. All right. So the last one is also a stratagem. So this one is Indian Elephants. So for the Asian Kingdom only. So play this card during a melee involving a friendly elephant instead of triggering a Saga ability. If the enemy unit has the mount horse rule or is an elephant, inflict a fatigue on it. This is for 2 coins. So this is pretty nasty if you're going down the elephant route, and it can definitely favor things and boost an elephant on elephant type melee if you want to go down that route. Kind of like, actually, that's visually pretty cool, to be honest.
Yeah, it's yeah. If you're fighting horses, like, your opponent has fucked up anyway.
Yeah, it's gonna be game over for the horses. But like an elephant on elephant, like, first of all, it looks really cool, and you should be doing that anyway. So there's that.
Then inflicting fatigue is good, of course. Yeah,
but for 2 coins, sure. I guess there's better ones, but then don't play Timely Truce. Don't do that one. So
yeah. All right. Does this sum up the episode then?
I believe it does. It's
cool.
been a long one. It's been a roller coaster ride. Lots of good stuff. Lots of hobby juices flowing. And then it actually brings us to our last warband, an episode of Age of Alexander.
Yeah, and I'm super happy we left the Greek cities for last because, to be honest, seeing how they play out, I'm very happy we didn't give our opinion in the beginning because I would have dunked on them. But I think they're quite powerful if you play them right.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit of a steamroller, or can be.
Yeah.
Also, you made a really good video regarding the Age of Alexander mercenary options. So I think we're not going to double up on that. So if you're interested in hearing Tim's views on the kind of the pros and the cons and the ranking of the mercenary options, please head to the YouTube channel. There's a really nice video there.
Please click now.
Click now. It's about half an hour, so it's like a really nice little painting session. You can sit down and do some painting and hear Tim's sweet analysis.
Yeah. I think the video can help, and I'll definitely be interested in your opinion on just let us know, like, what if you agree or disagree. There's definitely some people like wholeheartedly agreeing and disagreeing, so I think it's great to talk about these things.
Right. Cool. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, thank you. Bye.